It started with a bark across the bustling open-plan office in downtown Seattle, where the rain-slicked windows framed the Space Needle like a distant promise of something taller. "Anna, I need that pitch deck in 20 minutes. Or I'll just wing it with Tom's mess." Mike Harrington's voice cut through the hum of keyboards and muffled conference calls, hitting me like a slap I was too used to dodging. Not please, not could you, just the raw demand from a man who'd treated me like his personal fixer for 7 long years at Tech Solutions Incorporated, our mid-sized B2B software firm peddling CRM tools to anyone who'd listen. I hadn't even finished my lukewarm vending machine coffee, the kind that tasted like regret, when the familiar knot twisted in my gut, adrenaline mixed with that quiet rage I'd learned to swallow. I opened the email attachment he'd flung my way, a chaotic slide deck riddled with outdated stats. Buzzwords like disruptive innovation that hadn't aged well since our last flop with Apex Industries, and charts so unlabeled they might as well have been abstract art. Mike never built anything from scratch. He sketched vague outlines and expected miracles. And me? I was the miracle worker. The one who turned his half-baked ideas into polished strategies that closed deals and kept the lights on. But my name? Buried in the footnotes. If it appeared at all. While he basked in the glow of team victories on LinkedIn, I was the shadow pulling the strings, fixing CRM data leaks, spotting trends in lead funnels, and crafting outreach plans that actually converted. I'd bailed us out countless times, like that crisis with our key logistics client in Chicago, when Mike ghosted a critical renewal meeting. I hopped on a red-eye, smoothed things over in a dingy hotel conference room, and secured a 3-year extension with premium add-ons. His thanks? A vague good job emoji in a group chat, while I nursed jet lag on my own dime. They called me reliable, the steady hand behind the curtain. At first, it felt like a badge of honor. I wasn't the type to chase spotlights or schmooze at happy hours. But over time, those words hardened into a cage, a subtle code for, you're not cut out for the big leagues. I watched louder colleagues climb, guys with flashy MBAs from Ivy Leagues. Spotty records, but voices that filled rooms. The VP of Business Development spot opened up last fall, right after our quarterly earnings dip. I pored over the job posting, tailored my resume with every salvage operation I'd led, every pipeline optimization I'd pioneered. I even attached my custom lead scoring algorithm that boosted conversions by 15% in Q2. The interview with Mike was set for a crisp Wednesday morning, I remember, because I actually ironed my blouse, added a touch of lipstick, trying to look like someone who belonged at the table. He didn't bother closing his office door, just perched on my desk like I was a kid in detention. "Look, Anna, you're invaluable." "Really?" he said with that condescending grin, the one that made my skin crawl. "But leadership? It requires presence. Command, you know. That executive aura. You're more the behind-the-scenes wizard. And hey, that's not a knock, we need people like you." The way he twisted "not a knock" into a compliment felt like a gut punch. I nodded, bit my tongue. What good would arguing do? I'd seen what happened to women who pushed back here, labeled high maintenance or not a team player, then sidelined until they quit. He patted my shoulder, actually patted it, like I was a loyal pet, and wandered off. "Keep crushing it, we couldn't function without you." In that moment, the truth crystallized to him. I wasn't a colleague or a threat. I was a utility, replaceable as soon as someone flashier came along. The next morning, the internal Slack channel lit up with the shortlist, 5 names. All men. All the types who golfed with Mike on weekends. Tom Wilkins, the guy whose decks looked like kindergarten collages, once emailed a proposal with the client's name misspelled 3 times. Ryan Fletcher, who bailed on an investor pitch last quarter, texting me with "handle it" while he teed off at Pebble Beach. I sealed that deal solo, sweating through my suit in a virtual call. Yet there they were, paraded like MVPs, while I sat with my meticulously color-coded dashboards, invisible as ever, staring at that list. The shock wasn't fresh, it was the weary echo of a system that rewarded bluster over brains. The unspoken rule for women like me, be essential, but never essential enough to lead. Glue the pieces together so others can claim the puzzle. At the all-hands that Friday, Mike strutted in front of the projector, sleeves rolled up like he was about to invent fire. Big restructures coming, agile teams. Folks, he boomed. That cursed word, agile, meaning more work, less credit. Then he unveiled the new org chart, splintered into growth pods, code for organized chaos. Ryan as the new VP. Tom and a couple fresh faces under him. My name? Nowhere. Not even a footnote. We figured you'd stick with ops support, Mike muttered later, eyes glued to his phone. It's your sweet spot. Ops support, the corporate junk drawer where ideas went to die under endless spreadsheets. That night, alone in my cramped apartment overlooking the Puget Sound, I uncorked a bottle of cheap Cabernet and scrolled through my old files. Not Mike's versions. Mine, the clean architectures, market-tiering models, abandoned CRM overhaul plans. The numbness settled in, heavier than anger, like I'd been erasing myself without noticing. But being overlooked has its perks, it's silent, giving you space to observe, to plot without eyes on you. I started a list, not out of spite, but survival, every deal I'd rescued, every client who'd bypassed Mike to call me directly, every oversight he'd ignored, like the 16% drop in outreach efficiency because his new hires couldn't navigate our own software. By 2 a.m., it wasn't just notes, it was ammunition. And I knew exactly where to aim it. Mike skimmed the deck I'd fixed for him, barely glancing past slide 3, muttering solid before vanishing into another meeting, rehearsing his canned charisma for the board. This was the big one, the annual investor review, where projections could unlock funding or trigger cuts. Our pipeline deck wasn't fluff, it dictated budgets, headcount, everything. And Victor Kane, the sharp-eyed venture partner from Summit Capital with board sway, was the wild card. What Mike didn't know, I'd crossed paths with Victor twice, both times mopping up Mike's messes. First was at a networking dinner in San Francisco with our European SaaS partner. Mike tanked the pitch so hard Victor cornered me later, asking about backups. I sketched a phased rollout on a cocktail napkin. He pocketed it with a nod. Second time, after Mike ditched a follow-up in favor of a ski trip, I handled the call alone. Victor emailed later, appreciate the thoroughness. I replied, team effort, but his reply hinted he saw through it. So when I handed Mike the deck, it was laced with intent. I stayed late, replaying old board tapes, noting how Victor grilled on metrics Mike dodged. Slide 8 was my hidden bomb, a reactivation model for dead leads, pulling 21% recovery from segments Tom had dismissed as trash. I'd piloted it quietly, and it hummed. Mike wouldn't spot it. He'd parrot it as his genius. I scrubbed the file of my traces, metadata, comments, all of it, then saved a raw copy to my cloud. Not for sabotage, for readiness. Ideas don't promote you, exposure does. And Mike was about to spotlight mine, unwittingly. I skipped the meeting replay. I could picture it, Mike emerging triumphant, Tom slapping his back, Ryan crowing about revived channels, my math, driving home through the drizzle. My phone felt heavy in my purse. I dug out Victor's card from that SF dinner, heart hammering. Before doubt could creep in, I dialed. Victor Kane, his voice steady on the third ring. Hi, it's Anna Thompson from Tech Solutions. I handled the Apex retention last year. Pause. The one who caught the churn spike. Sharp eye. Relief flooded me. I have a framework, raw. No branding. Mike presented a diluted version today. It landed big. But it's mine. Silence. Then, send it. I fired off the unvarnished core, the model. Tiered go-to-market phases. Behavioral clustering for dormant accounts, stuff I'd shelved because Ryan would have called it overkill. No sleep that night. Inbox refreshes like a lifeline. At 7:15 a.m. His reply, intriguing. Link attached. 10 a.m. I strode into the office like any other day. Dodging Mike's smug, nailed it. Thanks to you, with a neutral smile. Victor's virtual setup was minimalist, him in a high-rise overlooking the bay. Me in my home office. He dove in without small talk. This flips our Q3 stance. Mike called those leads sunk costs. You're projecting profit. Because we're ignoring life cycle signals, I said. Voice steady despite the pulse in my ears. Why not pitch this yourself? I'm not leadership material, per the verdict. He leaned forward. Their loss. This isn't flash, it's scalable foresight. I've got a restructure brewing across portfolios. Need an architect for the transition. The offer unfolded, lead a new biz dev unit merging tech solutions ops into Summit's ecosystem. Not charity recognition. Why me? You see patterns. Endorse lights. Deliver without ego. That's rare. I accepted over a virtual handshake. The weight lifting like fog burning off. Mike's meltdown echoed through Slack that afternoon. Where's the Q4 lead dump? Who dropped the ball? But I was offline. Set to vacation, direct urgence to Tom. Tom. Who once crashed our demo server mid-pitch. Unofficially. I was in Summit's co-working space. Whiteboarding with two directors from allied startups, one AI logistics, one digital marketing. We dissected funnels. Rebuilt nurturing sequences. Projected staggering lifts, 18% efficiency gains. Phased activations that could scale to millions. Victor observed midway. Arms crossed. A subtle nod sealing it. By day 4. He handed me a binder, provisional role as head of integrated business development. Budget. Team outline. Reporting straight to him. You're not the spotlight chaser, he said. You build quietly. Solidly. That's why. I exhaled. And tech solutions? Restructuring finalized. They'll adapt. Calm washed over me, no fireworks. Just quiet vindication. The boardroom air went electric. Like a storm front rolling in. Victor didn't knock, he entered mid-Mike's spiel. The CEO pausing mid-sentence. Brief update, Victor announced. Cool as steel. Strategic pivot, consolidating biz dev under Summit's umbrella. Effective now. The CEO sputtered. This wasn't memo incoming. Meet your new head. I stepped in. Chin high. The room's eyes snapping to me like magnets. Mike's jaw slackened. A cartoonish click as it reset. Anna, the CEO, blinked. She was on PTO. Back now, I said evenly. Nodding at Tom, who looked green. Victor cued the deck, mine. Unadulterated. Summit branded. My name lead. Outdated version circulated. This is the functional one. Mike stammered. Hold up. This is our roadmap. Yours skimmed the surface, Victor cut. This maps the depths. I took my seat opposite Mike, unflinching as he fidgeted. Slide 1, lead reclassification via behavioral signals. We've trashed viable segments on outdated tags. Mike interjected. We were exploring, no, Victor said. You dismissed them. This recovers 21% at no cost. Ryan stopped fidgeting. Tom shrank. I powered through, sequencing lifts, retention blueprints, cross-vertical plans, all backed by my pilots. Team effort, Mike whispered desperately to the CEO. Logs say otherwise, Victor replied. One consistent contributor, hers. The CEO adjusted. Realign ASAP. No drama queen moment, just the shift. Palpable. I rapped, 18-month rollout. Onboarding scaffolds. Funnels tuned for reality. Victor stood. Deploying Q1, Shill helm. Mike's knuckles whitened. His bluster evaporated into raw fear, the first I'd seen. I shut my laptop. Message delivered. He approached post-meeting. Voice cracked. I didn't realize I held up a hand. Save it. His eyes searched for salvage. But the bridge was ash. Need help with that lead list? I asked. Deadpan. He blinked. Stunned. I didn't linger, walked out deliberate. Past my old cubicle. The org chart whiteboard with Mike's motivational drivel. Nods followed, quiet respect. Earned in silence. My new office, panoramic views. Real door. Calendar stacked with summits. I settled in. Laptop open. The logo familiar, but the reflection new. No longer the echo, now the voice.